We're back here in Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, two former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today, we're actually coming up to the end of our conference preview, Sean. We're doing the Big Ten today, and then we're going to do, the big dogs in the SEC next after that. So some exciting football coming up. Sean, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I had butter chicken for the first time in either my life or it's been so long that I can't remember. I liked it.
Uh-huh.
I liked it. I don't know. It was I just I did I'm very familiar with Indian food. I understand it, but I haven't had it recently enough to comment or have an opinion on it. I'm cool with it. It was pretty good.
That's not
That's
where I
how
thought that
that's
was
how
going to
I'm
go,
doing.
but
Yes.
I that's not where I thought that was going to go, but I think I understand. Is that what you had for dinner today? Is the butter
Lunch.
chicken?
It's gonna be lunch and dinner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Oh man.
solid. It was solid.
What
I
does
don't
it
know.
what does it taste like, by the way? I feel like that's very hyped up by
Here's the,
people that I know. I have an
here's the
Indian
thing.
friend too, so like he's makes it seem like it's really good.
It is good. I thought it was gonna be,
Does it taste
and
like
it
butter?
no, no, it tastes like almost tomato. Like, it's very tomatoey. It's like almost like a
Mm,
tomato bisque is a strong word because 'cause that's got a very, like, specific flavor, but it
mhm.
was way more tomato heavy in the sauce than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be light you up curry style, and it wasn't. It was just it was kinda delightful. Like, it was just like almost like a almost in the vein of a marinara. Definitely not as close to a marinara, but it had enough of a tomato influence where I'm sitting here
Uh-huh.
like, this is surprising, and I'm getting the naan, putting the naan in it. I'm like, oh, I'm having myself a good time here.
I'm probably still not going to try it. We do have this conference preview coming up, but I had everyone who knows who listens to the show. We always have to share the strange social interactions that have for us, and the common theme for those who again are new to the show and are old listeners, the common theme is Joe did something and he needs Sean to either validate that he's not in the wrong or he's going to side with the opposite side and tell me that I was the one who did something socially unacceptable, is usually
Sure.
what happens. This is the first time, Sean, where I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to agree with me because I had something extremely strange happen to me this Saturday. I just texted you a video, and as I explain this, I need you to watch the video. Turn the sound off because that's going to sound horrible. Oh wait,
Sure.
it's in the middle of sending here. So on
Right.
Saturday, my buddy Joe works at the Del Frisco's Grill in Santa Monica. So
I've seen his bathroom pictures in his uniform.
I muted those. I was tired of watching those. But so I went and I got lunch there. Didn't wasn't drinking or anything, but just went got a nice steak salad there, and I was watching the PGA just to hang out because he kept telling me to come hang out and went through. By the way, it looks like the video, and I was there for a couple hours. Anyone who doesn't know Joe, as you just highlighted there, he's very vain. He's very intent on trying to get a lot of videos and pictures of himself. So at one point when I'm about to leave, he's like talking up his espresso martini. He's like, "Hey, can you record a video of me making this espresso martini?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Trying to be a good friend. I'm recording this video, and at the very end of the video, as he's pouring it out, the guy next to the person who he's pouring the drink in for points at me and starts yelling at me while I'm recording this video, which you're probably about to start seeing in this video. And he's smiling while he's doing it. And he's like, "Don't record me." And he starts cursing at me, but he's smiling. So I think he's messing with me. This guy was so mad at me for recording my friend with him in the background that he got up and came over to me and proceeded to continue to yell at me. And then eventually I was like, "Dude, I'm not recording you. I'm recording my friend." His friends had to calm him down. But apparently, this is the craziest part about it. His buddies were like, he's really well known. Sorry. I've never seen this guy in my
Who the
life.
hell is
Who
this
is this guy?
loser?
Who is this guy? How who there are
You
so
know
many
what?
levels of
I
this.
hate I hate Joe's stupid turn back and laugh. Like it was a gotcha
Well,
moment and not like, "Oh yeah, he's filming me do this."
but you're saying when right,
I'm
right, right,
saying
right. But
right
that's
here,
yeah,
Joe.
where he
Right there.
turns
Where he
around.
turns around, looks at you all like,
Well, because
"Hey."
I said
Oh,
to
that's
him,
yeah.
I said to him, "Turn to the camera, Joe." That was what I said. So this nut who seemed like he was on something, like totally normal looking guy, but it's the way that he acted make it seem like he was on coke or something. But this nut didn't read the situation that I was clearly recording him and that I was talking to him for the past hour and a half while he was working. But the craziest part about this is the most nobody person who is apparently well known. How important do you think you are that I'm recording you and that I want a video of you on my phone? I I can't with this town anymore, Sean. This is insane.
He's eyeing you down from the jump. Start of the
I
video,
didn't
he's
even
looking
I
at
didn't
you.
even notice it. Didn't
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
notice it.
I'm looking right now. There's Joe Mixon. He's still looking right at you.
Yeah.
Um, when was this? Was this? It was a. You said it was a Thursday around lunchtime.
No, this was Saturday at
Oh,
around 4 o'clock was when I was about to leave.
yeah, he's still looking at you. Still, dude,
That
this is weird. This is weird. It's a Saturday. It's like you're not working. You're not getting caught at lunch getting drinks. Like I'm sitting here thinking,
yeah.
oh, it's a weekday. If he puts this out, maybe
Uh,
my boss on the crazy chance will see it and thinks, he thinks I'm at a meeting and I'm out here getting espresso martinis.
right.
Like that's where my mind went for that reaction. What the hell? I mean,
But
it's
this is why I need to bring it up is because I can't wrap my head around this because normally when I do something wrong and I cause something like this, which doesn't happen often, normally you feel bad. But I am so confused how a human being reacts to that where I'm not even recording him, but he's in the background of the video of the person I'm recording.
Yeah, I do a bit where if I see people taking a photo in public, I'll turn my head or I'll
Uh-huh.
duck my head, or if it's girls are taking a video or something like that, I'll turn my head, and that's not for like me, but for them. I don't want my fat face in the back of their video or their photo. I'm not sitting here like, oh God, I'm a celebrity. I can't be caught at public bar live or soft house. Like, no, no, no. It's hey,
Right.
I don't want to be sitting here and be made a meme out of when I got a face like this and I'm turning, I got no jaw, and if I'm looking
Uh,
like that, that happens plenty. And I try to avoid it that way. This just seems like, hey, buddy, can you film me making this drink? It seemed like everybody was in on the bit to start. And now he just looks at you and
well,
snaps.
well, but so that's the thing to me is that
You should have told him, hey,
he
loser,
was
you're at
smiling at
nobody.
me.
I don't know who you are. Don't
I
worry
almost
about it.
did.
You
I almost
loser.
did. But his reaction, he was smiling when he like pointed at me. So I'm like, oh, haha. He's like, haha, don't film me, like giving me a hard time because they were seeming really chill. But he got up and started walking towards me, and and when his buddy said that, I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I unintentionally was like, I don't know who you are, and I
Yeah,
laughed. I was like, I'm
I
not.
don't
This
know.
isn't worth it.
I don't know who he is either. You should have told him,
I
hey,
kind of need to find out. I kind of want to find out.
wait,
He's probably some nobody who was on like a reality TV show, or he's probably like a quadruple F list celebrity that was like a background. I've
maybe
never,
he's like
I
a
couldn't even.
skateboarder. I'm not trying to be like Sean only knows about skateboarding in LA, but like he's got the tattoo, but he's wearing that stupid flat cap. Ugh.
I know.
He
Oh
should have
my
been
god.
kicked out of the restaurant for wearing a flat cap. You should be. You know where you're allowed to wear a flat cap? Montana. That's
The
where. And
the other
in the
thing
1970s, other than that, you don't get to wear a flat cap and order an espresso martini. What a douche.
in the middle of the day, but like, okay, so there's just two last bits of this that like I thoughts on this before we get into the Big Ten preview. I one if I had like if this was like Adam Sandler or something and he got mad at me, I would actually feel bad. Like I would understand. And like if
Sure.
I
I'm not
wasn't if
trying to
I
ruin
didn't
your
notice
day.
he was in the background, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean I was trying to record me." I don't know who this guy is. It's bugging me. Who is he? Who is he that he thinks he's that important to be recorded in the middle of the day? I just
I don't know. That's weird. I didn't think it was going to end up with you getting screamed at and approached. Only happens to you.
yeah.
This stuff only happens to you.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Now you're on
Well, because I got a very hateable
Daily
face.
Loud.
We've already been over this.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Lone Star's dead, so I guess it's Daily Loud or Rap House TV that's posted videos like that.
Before we continue on with this video, I just want to tell you folks about an exciting new partnership that we have with this channel with Underdog Fantasy. Ever since I joined, I've been having so much fun. There are so many different exciting games that make watching games during the offseason more exciting. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but it has made it way more entertaining since I found Underdog Fantasy. And my favorite game to play so far, which I think you should try out, is Pick'em. It is so easy to play. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your Pick'em slip, get every pick right, and take home some cold hard cash. Use code HACK, 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 like the name of this channel. Use code hack to get your first deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. Go sign up. You won't regret it. You're going to have a blast. Check out Underdog Fantasy. I also want to tell you folks about our other reoccurring sponsor that we have on this channel, that being BetOnline, betonline.ag, which is all the updated odds, news, and anything for sports betting. It's my go-to source for when I want to be betting specifically on games. I love betting on college basketball or the NBA, especially, again, during the offseason. Always looking for more fun ways to be focused in on some of these other sports. It's betonline.ag and use promo code BELIEVE50. It's promo code BELIEVE50 to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Oh, my God. All right, well, that's a good note to transition us on here.
Sure.
Sean, the Big Ten this upcoming season. There's a lot up in the air. There's a lot of uncertainty on how this conference is going to play out. We're coming off of a season where unexpectedly at the end of the year, Michigan wallops Ohio State. They win the conference, they go into the college football playoff, they end up getting beaten by TCU. We've got a reloading year for Ohio State. We've got Penn State, who's got a young up-and-coming group of young guys that are going to be potential superstars in the Big Ten. We've got new coaches at Nebraska, in Wisconsin. We've got Illinois, who is surging and being a defensive powerhouse, maybe the new Iowa in this conference. And then Iowa, on the other hand, can't get a handle on what their offense is. I think that the Big Ten has some of the best storylines for this upcoming season. There are just so many moving pieces, so many new faces. And I think that, and as much as we're going to go deep on the SEC, it might be a really long episode for us. I think that the Big Ten is going to rival the SEC this upcoming year for competitive teams and teams that are putting up a big fight in the playoff and a potential to have maybe two, and we could have a 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC at the end of the season.
Yeah, there's 6 teams that really matter to me, and they're still broken up into tiers, which if you got 6 teams in your conference that I think matter, that's a good thing. Obviously, the big 3 here, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, those are the 3 that are going to command the focus with their talent, their athletes, and their coaches. And then you have the second of the big 3 2.0, Illinois, Wisconsin, Nebraska. New coach, BLM has been there, but new coaches at Wisconsin, Nebraska. They'll be better this year, but they're not going to be contenders this year in the Big Ten. But next year or a year down the line, that's when we really start getting them mixed up here in the Big Ten, because you have established coaches at Matt Rule, Luke Fickell. They're going to try to turn these programs around, and I believe they will. They're good enough coaches. They have cracked the formula at every school that they've been at, and now it's time to win, and now it's time to be competitive. But this year, it's still Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. That's what it is. And it's going to be, hey, can Penn State do it? Can Penn State crack in this year so not everyone's just rooting for November when Ohio State plays Michigan to see who gets in the playoff? Like that's what we're looking at right now for me. And we're not talking about them yet, but Penn State is interesting enough to have a chance to do that, I believe.
Ohio State starting us off in this conversation. As I've mentioned, CJ Stroud is gone. They're moving on, and they're going to try and figure out who the next quarterback is. Now, the thing for me with the quarterback situation is it's a little confusing, because it feels like everyone has said it is a foregone conclusion that Kyle McCord is going to be the starter. I also, though, at one point heard somebody had told me that Devin Brown might take over and be the one who wins the job. But Kyle McCord is a very highly recruited kid. And just as we did a couple of years ago with CJ Stroud, when CJ Stroud stepped in, had a little bit of a slow start, he eventually took off and had a lot of steam because he was able to rely on guys like Garrett Wilson, guys like Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. It just so happens that if it is Kyle McCord, he is going to have Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka. He also has Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams. By the way, might be one of the worst shows for mispronunciation, so go ahead, butcher us in the comments. The offensive side of the football for me, I think, is still going to be just as explosive. Brian Hartline, it seems like, is going to be calling plays as the offensive coordinator this year. This is a whole new look unit. If there is a school, Sean, that I am not afraid to replace the past guys that were the lead stars in an offense, it's Ohio State. They're going to figure out a way to hit their stride.
It's a factory. It's a factory at Ohio State. we've had the conversation, and you might have a co-host on another show that would say LSU is wide receiver U. You could, but the last couple
I
years,
don't think it is.
at least for college wide receivers, Ohio State is wide receiver U. And you see it with the first round caliber. Alabama had a great grip on it by putting wide receivers into the first round. A couple of them didn't pan out. That
Mm,
happens. But Ohio State just seems to keep on finding guys that know how to run routes, get jump balls, create separation. And you know what? They're getting the recruits. They're Ohio State. That name's going to get you some good athletes. But how you separate them from a really good high school athlete to here's a first round wide receiver, that's coaching. And that's teaching them new trades and new techniques. And boom, now we have a factory going. And next year, even after this crop leaves, I'm sure there's going to be two more guys that could have 1,500-yard seasons, and that could be busting out 80-yard touchdowns. Or, hey, Marvin Harrison Jr., I need a 3rd and 15. Can you do that for me? Oh, yeah, I can. I'm Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm fantastic. I'm really good at football. So just throw me the ball. It's what they do. And their replacement ability it's overwhelming at this point.
yeah.
Because with Michigan, and I'm not it's not a Michigan preview here, but Michigan has a shot this year because they returned 5th-year guys. They returned their guys with that big collective push from the fans.
Yes.
They
Yes.
returned Zach Zinter. They returned Blake Corum. They returned guys that could have gone to the NFL. That guys
Mm.
that could have done, that say, hey, I'm done at Michigan. I'm cool. Go and replace me. No, they have a shot because they were able to will them back to Michigan, not because they had guys that were ready to step up and be the next Zach Zinter or Blake Corum. Donovan Edwards could, but Ohio State has a different system than Michigan when it comes to cultivating their talents. Retention over 3 years, 4 years and out.
Yeah. We're going to get to Michigan in a second. I'm not super worried on the offensive side of the football. Where I get a little pause is what the issues were for them last year. And it was defensive inconsistency. And I know that there was a new defensive coordinator, and there's also a little bit of turnover. JT Tuamoilau, who I'm definitely butchering his name, um, is a strong football player. I think that he's a little bit overhyped, and I've gone as far as to say that I don't think he lives up to this top 15 pick as he's being projected right now. He's like a day 2 pick. He's like a lot of the other guys, like
Yeah.
Zach Harrison, who was there last year. There are good bodies on the defensive side of the football, especially at linebacker. Um, I just don't know if on the defensive line and on the offensive line, which is replacing 3 guys in Luke Whippler, in Paris Johnson, and DeJuan Jones, if they can be physical enough to go to battle against Penn State, against Michigan, and win those games. I have a lot of pause because they have not done that the past 2 years, and especially last year, they got bullied up front on both sides of the football. Michigan had an easy time running the football against them, and they also got after Ohio State a little bit in that game, not to like a massively productive level, but you saw a lot of, guys' heads getting popped back because they were getting blown off the ball by that Michigan defensive line. The tone has been set by Michigan, and Ohio State needs to catch up.
Yeah, they need to start playing a little bit nastier. And you know what? Michigan decided to do, hey, we're going to rebrand into this. We're going to be mean and nasty and grind you down. Cool. That worked for you. That worked for
Mm.
you to beat Ohio State. Now, Ohio State either needs to match that or, hey, let's Mike Leach this thing. Let's Mike Leach it. You're not going to be able to stop us. We're going to spread our athletes out like crazy, and you're not going to be able to touch us. And it's just going to be, hey, can you keep up on offense? Can your 4 yards and cloud of dust keep up with us being super dynamic? So it's going to be a weird, how do you innovate to beat Michigan? Because no matter how many 10-win seasons that Ryan Day gets Ohio State, if he's not beating the guys in Michigan, he's going to be out. That's like law. That's law in this rivalry. It is. Harbaugh was sitting on thin ice
Mm.
until he had these last 2 years. Thin ice. You got to beat the rival. You have to.
Sean, as we always do on these Power 5 previews, over under 10.5 wins is what their win total next year is set at. What do you think? Where are you going with this?
Ugh. I did before. I'm not scrolling through. I want you to know
Good.
that it is a very, very hard decision because it's okay. They're going to beat Notre Dame. but do they split with Penn State and Ohio State, or Penn State and Michigan, or do they sweep? And that's what it's going to be a factor of. I'll take the over. Oh, that's a sweaty one. You know what? No, I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under for Ohio State.
Really?
I'm giving them 10.
Really?
I'm giving them 10.
Ah. You know what? I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna be even if they lose both of those games, that's assuming that they can't win their bowl game. I gotta take the over. That's
I
actually
hate,
pretty favorable
I hate
for
this
them to go over
conference.
10.5.
Who's Purdue gonna upset? What's gonna happen here?
I'm waiting on Purdue.
Actually,
Who's
wait,
Purdue gonna?
this is
Who's
regular season win totals, by the way. This
Yeah.
is regular. I just realized that. That's regular. Oh man. I don't think that they lose to both of them. I think that you have to have a total meltdown to lose to both Penn State and Michigan. I think you have to. You just have to. You have
Okay.
to. You can't.
Okay.
It's
They
Ohio.
played really tight against Northwestern last year.
Yeah, but they still survived it, and that was in awful, awful weather, which is they're
That's
not really
football. That's
built to
football.
succeed in.
Well, they did
Uh,
luck against Michigan.
Michigan, though, as we've kind of headlined here, Zach Sinter returns, Blake Corum returns. They've got this double-edged sword, the dual-headed monster at running back with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, who are both fantastic football players. I think many people might argue that they're both at minimum top 10 running backs in college football right now. JJ McCarthy, to me, Sean, is the most important piece for Michigan because I think that they return a lot of physicality on both sides of the football. And as we just talked about there, they set the tone and they've been setting the tone successfully the past few seasons, and that has won them the Big Ten. I actually have a lot of confidence that they're going to win the Big Ten again this year, but I don't know if I can commit confidence to them winning a college football playoff game and getting to the national championship. That is where their biggest hurdle is now. And it all goes on the head of JJ McCarthy. How does JJ play in the big games? Do we get Ohio State JJ or do we get TCU JJ? That is what it is all going to come down to. He needs to play consistently and he needs to take that next step. And I know that you had a conniption when I said this last time, so I will phrase this in a more friendly manner.
I appreciate
He
that.
has elite NFL traits being a former 5-star quarterback. So if he takes that next step, he legitimately will be in a legit conversation. If anyone can improve, I think it is JJ McCarthy, and I have very high expectations for him this upcoming year.
I watched a lot of JJ McCarthy film today. A lot.
Okay.
I was going, if you were to say the same thing that you did last time, I was going to request an explanation. You explained it better today, and I appreciate that. He reminds me of Daniel Jones. And he reminds me of first 2 years in the NFL, Daniel Jones. A lot of his good plays are bad decisions. A lot of the times when he's scrambling, it's a bad decision on where to run. If it's a design quarterback run, cool. He's fast, he's athletic, and he's big and strong and tall, and that's what works in college football. Sometimes, he scares. If I'm a Michigan fan, I'm scared every time he puts that ball in the air because it's going just over a defender's hand. And cool, touchdown Blake Corum. Awesome. Great play. Everyone's happy you scored the 7 points. Run the offense. He can make the throw. He can make the throw down the sideline and with a receiver that's got 3 yards of separation. That's great. I'm not going to complain about that. Fans shouldn't complain about that either. He puts the ball in danger. He does. He had a great play where he had a rushing touchdown against Maryland. What does he do before the play starts? He drops the snap on the ground. And then he has to run, and he runs right into a Maryland defender. He's not. It looks like early, skittish, weird, but still talented Daniel Jones to me.
But here's the.
That's not a quarterback that I'm in on. It's not.
Okay. Here's the thing, though, with him being a former 5-star, and this being his first full season as a starter. He didn't start as a true freshman. It's kind of like we're going to talk about Drew Allar in a second, and it's kind of the similar situation where how does Allar play in his first year as a starter? JJ can take that next step. I think that a lot of times when we watch quarterback play and there's a lot of buzz and hype for a player, we hold them to a really high standard, which makes sense. It's justifiable. We should hope that they play up to the level of expectation. But at the same time, it is not an immediate instant impact at the college level. Not every single guy is Bryce Young. Not every single guy is CJ Stroud. It is a gradual pace of improvement. I'm not saying that he's going to play at an elite level, Heisman level next season, but if he has every tool in the toolbox to get to that level. He just needs to have put in the work this offseason, and he needs to play more consistently. And I kind of agree with your point on Daniel Jones, where Daniel Jones, and it makes sense where they're both really smart guys. They're both going to really good academic schools, and you can tell the gears just start turning and they make really stupid decisions, not because they don't know what to do, but because they overthink. If he can start overthinking less, I think that this offense starts to pop. The benefit that he has is Kyle McCord is stepping in at Ohio State, and he has to be the guy. Everything has to work because it's such a pass-oriented offense. This is run-centric. JJ just needs to be slightly above average, in my opinion, which he was very average last year for counting the median, the mean of his performances. He was very average. If he can get to slightly above average to above average, this team can win a playoff game. They absolutely can.
I just need him to not throw across his body, across the field. That's why I need him to just be JJ McCarthy, not, hey, I'm JJ McCarthy doing a Patrick Mahomes, silly Josh Allen impression. And he showed real guts in that TCU game. He did. Okay, they took two of my throws back to the house. What am I going to do? I'm sick of it. I'm going to go on a 75-yard tear down a great run, phenomenal. Show me some leadership. Show me that he's not quitting on the game. I know he got dusted and busted by that team last year, but he showed me, hey, he wants to play. He's got some leadership. He's not going to quit. It doesn't matter. That was a positive for me. That showed me that he has some football player in a quarterback, and I like that. But boy, I hope he's a little more consistent and a little more just make your reads, make the throws, pal. I know it's very hard to do, but you're the quarterback in Michigan. Make your reads, make your throws. If the seam is there, run for the first down.
Win total is set at 10.5 as well for Ohio State. Look, I'm going to get ahead of this before you give me yours. I just said that they're going to win the Big Ten, which means they hit the over on this. They can win. They can lose a football game. I think that this is one of the few years where we can have 3 one-loss Big Ten teams, and if Michigan wins whatever tiebreaker, I think that they would win the Big Ten championship game. But I feel as though they will go undefeated. They will win 10-12 games.
Yeah, I'm taking the Michigan over also. I think they get 11 wins. They're built really well, and they have the vets coming back, which is super important for your team. Blake Corum is a stud. Donovan Edwards last year stepped up, and at times I'm like, is Blake Corum back? Oh no, that's Donovan Edwards. He's in. They're both great. It's a great punch. They're staying fresh back there. O-lines are really solid. So Michigan 11 wins makes sense to me. It does. I think they're rolling. I think Harbaugh is starting to find his stride with his team also. So 11 wins sounds fair, and it doesn't sound out of the realm of expectation.
Sean, Penn State almost feels like I'm trying to think the best way to phrase this. They have an invigoration of youth. They've got Drew Allar, who was a very highly touted recruit who's taking over for Sean Clifford, who was so freaking inconsistent and frustrating to watch.
I love Sean Clifford.
Nick Singleton is being hyped up to be the next great Penn State running back since Saquon Barkley, and we saw a lot of highlights that suggested the possibility of that. On the defensive side of the football, guys like Chop Robinson and Kalen King are going to be really important for them. But most importantly, I love Olu Fashanu, man. I love him, the way that he plays that left tackle position. The dude is so flexible. He is so easy of a mover. He is going to be the best offensive lineman in the Big Ten and one of the top offensive linemen in the country this upcoming season. They have the ability to play upset this year. They really do. But I am not going to sit here, and I said this on another show, I'm not going to sit here and put confidence in James Franklin to get his quarterback to the next level. We have had so many instances of good quarterbacks that have been a part of this Penn State program that have not reached their true potential. As hyped up as we are about Drew Allar, I bet he's closer to JJ McCarthy than he is to, I'm trying to think what would be a good example here, like a Bryce Young type level of performance in his first year as a starter. I think the best example here, Sean, before I let you go, my best example is the fact that Will Levis was very talented, was there, didn't even crack the starting lineup, and left, and that was one of the most talented quarterbacks that has been at Penn State in James Franklin's time. How am I going to expect him to do that with Drew Aller if he couldn't get it done with other guys?
I tell you what, this Penn State team kind of reminds me of the 49ers in that at every position, they got a dude. Kalen King is a stud. Singleton's fantastic. I like the addition of Dante Cephas. Olufashano, he's just rock steady. I could watch his film all day. I saw just how he was shutting down the Michigan defensive line, and they had some good players on their Michigan defensive line. And he was rolling, and he was staying calm and doing his sets. He wasn't getting over aggressive with a deep set. He was just staying exactly where he needed to be. Really like him. And then Chop Robinson, really fun off the edge, really solid also. He's got a great, it's almost a ghost move, but he just gets around these right tackles. It's too easy for him. These right tackles are not fast enough for Chop Robinson. So at every position, they kind of got a guy. And it's like, okay, what's going to happen with quarterback here, Kyle Shanahan? You keep on saying, okay, who's this Brock Purdy guy? Where's Trey Lance been? So it's kind of a little bit reminiscent of that for me with Penn State. I think Drew Aller is a spectacular athlete. I think he's got a cannon attached to his shoulder, and he looks confident when he's playing quarterback, and I like that. I put stock in Drew Aller. I'm putting stock in Penn State this year. And it's so stupid of me to do that because every year they remind me why their little brother. That's why. Every year they find a way to remind me of that. But this year, I'm thinking maybe little brother hit his growth spurt. And now he's ready to take on, his older brother's coming back from college, 16. He started working out with dumbbells, and now he's ready to fight him. Okay, cool. Are you going to fight your brothers and beat them because they're hungover on a Sunday? You want to take them then? Or is it going to be, okay, after dinner, they just got back from the gym too, and you're just going to get reminded while you're a little brother? So what is Penn State going to do this year? It's so hard not to want to bet on the little brother to just go in there and kick some ass. It's so hard because they're so fun. It's a great team. If they can just do the little things right, run the ball effectively, don't turn the ball over, and play decent defense, you got a shot. You got a shot to take Big Brother down. Go ahead. Go after him, Penn State.
So over under is set at 9.5 wins. We got to take the over on this. That's like a
give me the over. Yeah.
I don't see that they don't go, because that means they lose to Michigan, they lose to Ohio State, and they also lose to some random dip, which they're better. I think they've got more talent than last year. So no, give me at least 10 wins.
I'm taking 10 wins on it. Maybe they get a good sucker punch, and that's what I'm looking for here. I'm giving me 10 wins on Penn State. I want to feel it.
Last important team here, Illinois. I love Illinois. I don't know what it is. The uniforms are fun for me. I love me some Brett Bielema, and I know that Ryan Walters is gone and he took over Purdue. They have two dudes on the defensive side of the football in Jer'Jon Newton and Keith Randolph. Monsters. Two of the best defensive linemen in the country. When was the last time we said that about anyone on this Illinois roster? Those dudes and the rest of this defense will cause fits. I need to know what Luke Altmaier does if he takes over the starting job, transferring from Ole Miss. Getting an SEC quarterback tends to work, though, as we've seen for a lot of programs. Over-under is set at 6.5, though, Sean. That's juicy.
It is.
That's a juicy line right there.
You got to take the over on that. Luke Altmaier looks like an Ole Miss quarterback. Take that for what it's worth. Watch some of
Sounds like one, too.
You know what? He just does some things that leave you scratching your head, but he looks the part. Okay. Brett Bielema is somebody that I'd play for. I love how he works his defense. I love how he utilized his stars last year on defense. It was great. I think Illinois at 6.5 still seems pretty low. I'll take the over. I know they're going to put a stinker out there one week, and you're just going to be like, oh, what the hell are we doing here? Why is Illinois? It's going to be like their first big noon Sunday where everyone's excited and they go get 30 dropped on them. But, they're going to rally. They're going to keep on fighting through the season. That's it. Illinois, take them over 7. Take them over 7. That's way too juicy of a line. I like this team. I like Bielema. I like it. Give me some excitement.
I don't know where the hate is for this Illinois team. BetOnline does not like Illinois, apparently. That has to look. There's a lot of these lines we just talked about could go either way. That is so freaking juicy. That is like one of the best ones that I think that we've talked about for all the Power 5 conferences. 6.5 wins. You're telling me that they just need to beat up on the crappy teams on their schedule?
Hold on.
That's all they got to do? 7 wins is all they need to get?
All right,
You bet
Joe.
your damn ass they're getting to 7 wins.
We're gonna have to close this real quick. They beat Toledo. They're good. Kansas. They're gonna beat Kansas. Lose to Penn State, 2-1. They beat Florida Atlantic 3-1. Purdue, don't know about
4-1. It's a
4-1,
first-year new
fine.
head coach. 4-1.
Nebraska.
5-1. Don't do that. New first-year head coach. Don't do that to me. 5-1.
Fine. Maryland.
Let's say toss up random game that they lose. 5-2.
Okay, Wisconsin.
Give me the bag on that one. 6-2.
Okay, Minnesota next.
7-2.
Okay, Indiana next.
8-2.
Iowa.
9-2.
Oh, that might fall to Iowa in my eyes. Northwestern.
10-2.
They're not a 10-win football team, Joe. They have to lose
All
one
right,
more game.
All right. I look at that schedule. They only play Penn State. So that's the crazy part about this is they only play Penn State. There is no Michigan or Ohio State. Again, I might go put some money down on this. I don't usually do win totals for actual bets. I don't like to do futures. That's such a freaking good line. Quick final thoughts. Wisconsin, Nebraska in 30 seconds, Sean. If one new head coach does well, I think it's Luke Fickell. Give Matt Rule a couple of years, and then eventually he leads the way.
Yes, I think that's fair. I think Luke Fickell is an inspirer. He gets a team motivated. He gets a team motivated and ready to go. Fickell is going to have Wisconsin fans reinvigorated. I know they like their locals, and Jim Leonard was a local, and they liked Paul Chryst. He was a local. Luke Fickell is going to go in there and have the team jumping, though. It's going to be a new look team. It's going to be fun. It should be exciting. And Nebraska, if Nebraska can be competitive in the Big Ten, that's all I'm looking for. I don't need them to be winners. I don't need them to be in the playoffs. Just show me something fun, Nebraska. That's all you got to do. You guys are fun. You sell at the stadium every year. It's great. So keep up with your great bits. Don't be boring Nebraska and boring Wisconsin next year.
At Joe DeLeone at Sanderson Radio. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back SEC next week.